store at that time. He died in that building.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he, while he was there, he went down to the creek right at the end of it
Yeah.
and made this out of willow.
Oh,
And then he used it. He was little. He was less than 5 feet, I think. And Aunt Alice, Ruthie,
uh-huh.
she kept this for years because she remembers tapping and using the cane in the store and in that. And I've had it all this time, and I think, it's time for me to make sure it's taken care of. So that's where it was made.
That's amazing.
So
You mean your
He's donating it.
oh
yes.
Whoa.
oh
Well,
how
I hope
exciting.
that because in my family, I tell them all kinds of things, but it's now getting so large and scattered around,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't, I don't know what would happen to this. So that's why I think it should be here.
Yes, it's a good place for it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's really
If you had a picture of him, you could, maybe mount it over it.
Yeah.
yes.
But
Thank
I
goodness.
mean,
We could put it in one of these display cases with a sign. That would be great.
Yeah.
And his picture, yeah.
Yeah. Because we have a
That was-
picture of him.
That would be
He was a
great.
saddle maker. He was a leather
Yes.
worker. He made saddles for Western movies, I understand.
Yes.
Really?
And I know
Yeah.
right where he's buried at the cemetery. So I stop and talk about him now.
Yeah.
Bill, I don't know whether I've ever met you formally or not, but I've talked to you before. Marshall Duncan,
Oh, oh.
you're the oldest one around here. I was. I'm next to the oldest. Right next to it. I'm only 94.
Oh, so,
And you're what?
No.
I'm
he's
93.
Oh, Marshall, you're the oldest.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Should get a picture of Marshall and Bill.
hi, I'm Suzanne.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
yeah. I didn't
Hi,
realize-
Suzanne. I don't think we've met. I'm Nancy Flood.
Hi, Nancy.
Yes. Oh, I'm familiar with the floods.
I know.
Yes, I guess you would be.
Yes. Well, anyway,
No,
there we
that's
go.
great.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Wow. Willow.
Beautiful. It's willow?
Uh-huh. Made out
From-
of willow.
That is quite different.
That's
too.
interesting that
Yeah.
it was all.
It is.
Because that's all one
see,
piece.
he
of it.
chose a kind of
Yeah.
the way the branches were, so he didn't have to.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's
he
all
didn't-
natural.
He
Right.
didn't put it together.
Yeah.
It was that way.
Yes.
So did he use it himself?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This is,
Wow.
Andrew Allen used this for,
Not a very strong one.
no, but he was little,
Oh, okay.
and I don't know how long he lived in that house, but, he married a woman, one of the Maloney's.
Uh-huh.
And when he did that, see, he was a grandfather, my grandfather's grandfather. Well,
Oh.
they called him
Might have.
grandfather. But when he married this woman,
Probably.
she was
I'll send it
already,
again. Say
the
it was a
Maloney's
copy, but
were related to
a copy.
my grandmother.
Okay, maybe I'll
Oh.
send him a copy. And
He-
this is the original.
The two Thompson brothers married Maloney's.
Oh, right.
Married Maloney's daughters. And so Uncle, he became Uncle Andrew. Well, not technically.
No, but that's what.
That's what they called it,
Didn't take
Yeah.
because they thought it was kind of funny. And
Well, yes. Well, it was very confusing. Mary has a question about the Thompson brothers' daughters.
Both.
And Jeanette was one. The other was, Ann Jeanette was Peter Thompson's wife.
Right.
Oh, right.
Oh,
And Charlotte was Robert Thompson's wife.
Right. But why did each of them name their daughters Gertrude?
Oh, I don't know that.
Just
know
seems
they
like
did.
a very funny thing in a small town for
They
two
were-
brothers to name.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, I know they did because I know Alice McNeil Rusi or Gertrude McNeil. Gertrude Rusi, was that? No, Gertrude. One of them was a McNeil because Gertrude married.
Gertrude.
She was your great grandmother. Your grandmother.
My grand
Yeah.
great.
Robert's wife.
Yeah, Robert.
Your grandmother.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Yes,
right,
yes.
right.
Yeah.
I can't follow it.
No, it's too confusing.
No,
No.
it is.
Very confusing.
So do we want to go see the barrel?
Yes.
Let's go see the barrel.
That's why we came. To see the
So we have a key to get into the cage. Marshall, I like your shoes.
Use Marshall's speakers. Okay, mine's missing.
Do you have your key?
Yes.
Can we borrow it for a second? Or I'll get the one out of the drawer.
Yeah, that might be easier.
Here, I'll get it out of the
Here,
drawer.
take this.
Oh, Marshall still got his alarm. You're so smart.
Oh, I still have mine.
You
I
still
don't know
have
where it
yours?
is.
Mine's here, missing somewhere in the history room.
Are you Jody?
I'm Judy, yeah.
Oh, Judy.
Yeah.
Suzanne.
He's Suzanne.
Because so you're friends with Ryan.
Yeah. Well, sort of.
Try to get all these relationships straight, you know.
Ryan was coming in here for a while when he was still working, and we were all, the whole city was disappointed when he left. The
Yeah.
city.
Yes.
But that's okay. No, I had his email address, but I didn't have yours, so
Yeah.
we did that. Let's go.
So, well,
Come on, Marshall, we gotta see this as a group.
Here's the barrel. And up on the top is stenciled Robert McNeil.
Yeah,
Does that look like a barrel that
certainly does.
There's the spigot.
the spigot's
over
on the
here.
other side?
Yeah, Dad's the one that left it open.
That's right. We've heard that. So many kids know that story now.
does he know that?
Yeah.
Well, that's in good shape.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if he knows the story of how it came to be here.
Oh, no, you have to tell that. So that's the real thing?
Oh, yes.
Bill, what
Turn around
was?
so I can get your picture with it. I'm trying to get a picture of you and the barrel.
Come stand over here.
Stand on top of it.
Excuse me.
You can take one too. Yeah, I'll try to get one.
Stay there, Bill, just for a second.
Very good.
Dad's gonna take a picture.
Okay.
Okay, wait, one more.
Oops, I just took a picture of the floor.
Okay.
The story of how we got this barrel is that a man who used to work for my husband as a young man in high school worked at Lafayette Toyland, which was that same building
Yes.
later on.
Right.
And so he and a friend, the barrel was there really a basement, or was there just a way under the building from the back? I'm not clear on that.
Well, there was a door
Uh-huh.
that you had to raise in the store,
Uh-huh.
and then steps that went down.
Like a trapdoor kind of?
Right.
Yeah.
The steps just took you down, and the whole thing was open down there.
Okay.
But I think
Was it dirt or was
yeah,
it wooden?
no, it was dirt. They just scooped out the dirt and got rid of it wide enough to store a few things down there.
But how would you get a full barrel of molasses or whatever down those stairs?
It was big enough.
Uh-huh.
That,
It wasn't too heavy?
no,
Okay.
this is what they use.
Okay, so anyway, this young high school boy worked at the store. And maybe the barrel was empty at the time, and it might have been around behind the back. He said that they crawled under some lattice work. So his friend helped him load it on a truck, and he took it home in 1968. And he cleaned out the inside. He said it had corn syrup in it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it did.
Okay, not molasses, but corn syrup?
Yeah.
Okay. So he said he cleaned
They
it
might
out.
have called it molasses, but it's
Okay, and he
Sort of.
varnished the barrel
uh-huh.
and kept it all these years. His wife who was Portuguese, whether that has anything to do with it.
But
She and her
he
mother
made sure
wanted
we
to
knew.
cut the barrel in half and plant geraniums in it, and he wouldn't let her do that.
Well, thank the Lord.
They
Yeah.
moved 5 times, and every time the barrel had to come. But he was always afraid that his wife would pay the movers to get rid of it. So he'd go and talk to the movers and said, if my wife offers you money to get rid of it, come to me, I'll pay you more. So it's still here. So now they're moving to Arizona. And so he finally decided to part with it. So somehow he put me together with my husband and the Historical Society.
It's amazing.
It is. So we went and picked it up 2 weeks ago down in Livermore. So, and I thought, oh yeah, it's a barrel. But when you see this Robert McNeil Lafayette stenciled on here, that's
this
what
was
did it.
it. I can.
It's really beautiful. So you know what? When we teach Lafayette history to all the 3rd graders in Lafayette, and we take them on a walking tour, my friend Michelle tells the story. When she gets to the store, she shows the picture of you as the little boy in the store, and she tells the naughty thing you did. And the kids think it's so funny, but now they can see the barrel, so it makes it really real.
That's right.
It's amazing. So
And
it's-
how nice that they teach the kids of Lafayette about the town they live in.
Yep, exactly. Yep, do a lot.
And really, I was afraid when I had not forgotten that I had left it a little bit open. And when he found it, I mean, that syrup was all over this dirt floor. And I never got any punishment. And a lot of people just thought it was funny. But I don't know how they cleaned it up.
Probably just let it
One thing
sink
about
in.
my grandfather, Robert McNeil, was I would classify him as being pretty serious, and he's not much of a joker. And I didn't know what was going to happen, but he was very patient with me, because when you came in to buy groceries, you didn't just go pick groceries up. You gave him the order. He got them and brought them to the table and bagged them up. And I can recall that the place would be pretty crowded sometimes. They'd be waiting in line for their order. And I was trying to catch a gopher in the backyard, way down by the creek. And every time I put the trap in the hole, I sprung the trap. So I couldn't get it open. You know how these old-fashioned gopher traps. So I'd go in, and I'd go up to the head of the line, and but in there, he stopped everything, and he set the trap. Well, you can tell what was going to happen, because when you stick it down the hole, it's very often you spring it. And I'd go down there, sure enough, I'd spring the trap. I'd go back to the store. And I don't know how many times he put up with that, but yeah, he was.
About how old were you when you turned on the spigot?
Oh, I would say I wasn't little, because going down those steps and everything, I could have been 5 to 10 years old, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's a great story.
yeah, but yeah, that actually, and of course my father kidded me about it for years, that I messed up that floor down there.
And we're still laughing about it today.
Yeah.
All these
Right.
years later.
Yeah.
Well, this is great.
I think it's amazing that it's still,
Looks great.
yeah.
We're going to move it inside the door there where the scales are. We just have to figure out what to do with the scales and then figure out how to get this in there. But we'd really like to have it on display for a while because it's a real special thing. So we can have a picture of you with the barrel and then maybe a little synopsis of the story.
Yeah.
But I don't know why this man wanted to keep this. You know, I could see a woman wanting to keep it just because she could do
I could see
something.
me wanting to cut it in half and use it as a planter.
I know.
Or put a top on it and use it as a bar table or something.
We had one of the Thompson boys could have handled this full
Wow.
and had taken it right down there.
Wow.
And his name was Frank Thompson. And he, you know, Ryan is pretty big.
Yeah.
Frank Thompson was bigger.
Wow.
I mean, and we had no policeman. We didn't need one in Lafayette.
Because you had Frank.
Yes. I have a picture of him in one of my books. Yeah, I've forgotten who he married, but he was something else.
What did he do?
What?
What was his job?
I don't know, really. I can't remember. I just remember the size of him.
Oh, that's a beauty.
There was an article in one of the papers, and this was while Frank Thompson was alive, and somebody gave it to one of the papers, and I read it because that story that they gave about Lafayette remained, and it was published several times. And apparently two friends decided to go kind of slumming, and they said, let's go out to Lafayette. And there was nothing out here, really. But they knew there was a hotel, and maybe they could get a sandwich and then go back to Oakland. So they came out, and they were remarking how quiet it was. There was no cars, no noise. It might have been a Sunday, I don't know. And they passed the hotel, and they went around listening to the birds and enjoying the quietness. And finally they went into the hotel, and there were doors, kind of like a bar that you see in the movies, that opened this way. So when they looked in, it was just dark. But after their eyes got accustomed to the situation, they could see that there was a bar, and there was somebody standing behind the bar, and so they asked if they could get a sandwich, and the person said yes. What kind would you want? Well, ham or whatever so they sat down in the table, and the other doors had closed, the ones that came in, and they were enjoying the quiet, and they were enjoying the situation in Lafayette. And all of a sudden, one of them looked around, and there was this huge head looking over the top of these doors, and nothing happened. And finally, the doors opened, and this monstrous guy came walking over to the table, and he said, you fellas have relatives or something out here? No, we just came out. You just came out? In other words, you don't know anybody out? No, we don't know anybody out here. And so, very quiet, he says, well, I've got a request. You finish your sandwiches, and then you get up and go back out to your car and go right out back where you are. And everything will be fine. And he said, we did exactly as he said.
With the hateful
Well, he
sandwiches.
didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
I knew who that person, because he took it upon himself to be the custodian of barn dances.
Nice to
It
have
was
a big
the-
man in
he was
town.
the bouncer.
mayor.
Yeah, right.
Heavy.
That's right.
That's funny. That is so
But that,
funny.
yeah,
So did your family live out in Happy Valley?
no.
So I wonder who...
That was Robert McNeil.
Ah.
Robert McNeil lived in Happy Valley, I think.
Okay. Sandy's house?
It might be. I'm not
Sandy, because Sandy had told us that her father bought that house from a McNeil.
Well,
Okay.
Well, now my
No, it's-
grandfather,
okay. I shouldn't have brought...
I don't know, just he
This...
lived in two different places before he bought the store.
Oh, okay. That was a while ago then.
Yeah.
It's another branch of the McNeils.
Or maybe I'm thinking of Robert Thompson lived in Happy Valley.
no, well, it's in the book, and I can't remember. Yeah, it was Robert and Gertrude lived there when they were young. There's a photo of them.
And then I have one other question. I can't find this picture. I saw a picture 2 weeks ago of Hazel McNeil, and now I can't find it. Does Hazel McNeil sound familiar? Would have been somebody like a generation before you. Maybe your father's
There was-
generation.
Well, there was a Hazel Crossett. You remember that?
But I remember the name.
Yeah.
I remember
Well,
hearing it.
Hazel Crossett was a bunker.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can find this picture again. It's driving me nuts.
And
Okay.
when she married, then that was Hazel
Okay.
Crossett.
Okay.
I don't remember any Hazel McNeil.
Okay.
That name sounds familiar to me, though.
Well, it's a picture that we were looking at. It was like an 8.5 by 11 copy of this woman, and the back of it said Hazel McNeil, but now I can't find it. So I need to
That
dig.
happens a lot in the history room.
We can look through pictures and go, oh, I never saw that one before, and it's been here all the time. So
He has a
Look more.
ton of pictures.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to sit down and have a look at a couple pictures
Yeah.
in there?
Oh, yeah.
I'll close up here.
Goody, goody.
okay.
Want me to sit here?
Yes. But it's not on the foot.
No, no,
Here, Dad, come and have a seat.
not on the floor.
Not on the floor. Well, I don't know what book she was. I don't know. I think she dodged in there. Huh, what's this? We keep getting new old stuff.
Yeah. That's a beautiful painting.
Isn't that lovely? I don't
Yeah.
know who did that, but it's really pretty.
You know, I have a picture of Lafayette, 1922, and it snowed
Oh yes,
on
this
that.
out.
Did you see that
that was
picture?
a lot of.
For the cane.
There's lots of pictures.
You can
I
sign
mean,
it.
you know, people took. You know, suddenly
Yeah.
it's snowing and they decided to take a picture. So it's a good thing it snowed.
This is beautiful.
That cane is
I
wonderful.
know, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it took a
So-
lot of thought
You can just say willow,
to end up with a handle like this,
willow,
just the right shape.
cane.
Yeah, to pick that.
Looks like it could be not that old, but I'm sure it's really old.
Yeah, it is.
It's a beautiful piece of wood.
And so this is basically the bark is
That's the
still
bark
on
of
that
the
part,
tree,
and
yeah.
this little bit here.
That's just, he found, you know how sometimes a tree will get knocked down and it keeps growing, and so the tree is kind of bent by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he picked.
That's so special.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
Well, you can see he used that quite a while. Quite a while, yes, because it's never been abused or thrown around. So, I mean, it was
Here, you sign right there.
Okay.
So where do you live?
Walnut Creek.
Oh, nice. So everybody's
He lives
kind
in
of close.
Concord.
Yep. It's great.
Yeah, I live 10 minutes from his house, so
Really nice.
we hang out a lot.
Well, I point out at the cemetery, I point out where you're going to be someday, but
Yeah.
not yet. And tell the kids that this was that little boy,
Yeah.
Bill. They're very impressed. I think they like the fact that you were kind of naughty.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I'm sure they do. Were these the pictures, Mary, you were gonna?
There's that album there, the smaller album, has pictures of the McNeils, and Bill and I went through them maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So we used.
Bill and I have gone through them too.
Yeah, no, it's great, and we've put little notes as to who people are, which is great. And then I don't know what's in this other one. This looks just like a. Oh, this was Alice's.
I thought a lot of stuff
Oh
came
wow!
from
Did
Alice.
we know? Look at this.
What's that?
Doesn't look like Lafayette.
No, but that sure looks like what.
Redwood Empire Lumber Supply and Supply
You
Company.
know where that is then.
Marin.
We heard.
It says Marin Equipment Company here. Is this over on?
Isn't that what the
Gotta listen
Stu
to
was
this.
just telling us about?
I've heard so much about the
Could very well
McNeils.
Yeah.
Trying to follow it. I've only been here 61 years.
This is just mostly historical memories of yesterday.
You've been here a long time. You're an awful lot of the history here.
Yeah. That's true.
Very important.
Daughter Robert and Gertrude.
Wow. I don't know what else we have in here.
I remember before I went into the Army, I used to go over to the blacksmith shop, and Bill Thompson was then the owner. He was a son of Peter Thompson,
Uh-huh.
and
I wonder if Bill knows any of these people.
during the time I was in the Army,
I've seen this guy before.
I didn't know he had died. So when I got back, I went to see him, and he was deceased.
This is his
Bill
grandfather.
Thompson.
This is
Yeah.
rather. This has to be Gertrude.
And
Where did you serve in the Army?
in Europe, we made the invasion
Oh, yeah.
in on the beaches of Normandy, and then we went from there finally into Belgium. We didn't go into Paris or any of that, into Belgium, and then into Holland,
Mm-hmm.
and then we
Oh, that's cute.
turned around, and then
I remember those days.
that bulge situation started, where Hitler, it was his last
Yeah. Last guy.
term.
You don't
And it was in
recognize
December.
any of these people, do
It was
you?
about the middle of December,
Here's a
and
great
we
one here,
went,
though.
we drove
No,
down
it's funny,
from
but everybody
Holland
used to look like that before.
into Belgium,
Here's two we have.
and God, it
Here's
was
Robert and
cold.
Gertrude. Aren't these beautiful?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
yes. He
day
was
and
so
night.
handsome.
The sky was
really
overcast,
handsome. And we don't know.
Kind
and
of
that's
a,
where
I recognize
We
this
met
guy.
the
Here's- I have a
German
picture of
army
him
and,
somewhere else. I wonder if Bill can recognize any of these people.
we
Doesn't
lost
kinda
more
look like
men
Paul
in
Newman or
that
somebody.
area than we did
my
in the
grandfather
invasion.
was very
Oh, yeah.
cute too. He was
And
very
it was just
handsome.
Yeah.
horrible. And then I remember on Christmas Day, it broke
That
just
picture
like
is-
this. Instead of being fogged over and freezing, just like this. And boy, we hit them with everything. And planes came over.
Yeah, it made a big difference.
That
in
was the
fall.
end of it, really, for the Germans.
Yeah.
And I bought a record involving,
You're supposed to see if
Yes.
you know anybody who they are.
oh gosh,
Of course, you know these two.
yes, oh yes,
I mean, handsome.
I know. He looks like that
Paul Newman or
Paul,
somebody.
he
Yeah.
looks exactly like Paul
I'm
Newman.
going to have to look again.
Oh, so
He does.
handsome.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
I hadn't thought of that.
Nobody in my family would say that because they didn't go to the movies at all.
Right.
Like Aunt Alice, she would not know.
She didn't? I thought she was a modern woman.
No, not not really.
Well, do you know anybody else in these pictures?
Well, what?
And then
This one kind of looks like someone but no, I couldn't say for sure. Oh gosh. So there's no shot. Did
no name.
my aunt have these?
I believe so. There were quite a few things that came from Alice. But that doesn't mean they're family. I mean, they could be
because
friends.
She also
This is-
had pictures of the Rusies.
Yes,
And
and
the Rusies came from Europe.
Were they Italian?
No, they were
Lucy.
Rusi. Is an interesting name because the oh,
I forget where he's from too, but he's
well, there are three kind of people in Europe. What's the name of this small country?
Oh, with Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
There are
Swiss, yeah.
Italians, Germans,
And French.
and French.
yes.
Right. Okay. Well, the Rusies came from there,
Okay.
but they were really the name Rusi is very common in that country,
Yeah.
and in fact, it's where the Russians got their name.
Oh, the Rus.
They call them the Rus. They were Vikings. The Vikings were known as the Rus.
Before.
Eric the Red.
Yes, and when the people in these other countries, the name means people who come down the rivers. In other words, when the Vikings came down, they even came down streams, and they designed their boats so that they would do that. Well, that's where the Russians got their name, and that's why the Russians, many of them, look like Swedes. They're the
all-
same complexion.
Yeah.
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 Well, the Rusi family goes back quite a ways in this area too, isn't that right?
Well, they Theodore Rusi, my uncle, that married Alice McNeil. All right, he was the first generation.
Oh,
His father came from Europe,
I see.
and they came, and the father, I think they were in the feed and business, even in Europe, and so they went to what's the name of this little town with a they didn't land in where they finally ended up in Port Chicago.
Oh,
Not Port Chicago, no. What's the name of this little
Pacheco?
Pacheco? They
that's where they
came to Pacheco because the water was, was-
That was navigable. all
Yes,
the way
it
out
was.
there, yeah.
and their business burned down. Then they moved to Concord. But Ted's father was alive at that time, and they kind of started the business. But I got a kick out of Aunt Alice. She and Ted went together for years, and they were always going to get married and everything, and they finally did. But we used to, when they went out on dates, they'd come back, and I could hear Alice telling Ted, try not to be so loud. And I mean, he had a voice that would just go from here to Walnut Creek. And
he was a big
there's
guy.
no way to shut him up. Everybody awakened, and we knew that Aunt Alice is back. Well, anyway, in 1934, they decided first to build the house, and they did. They had it custom made in Concord. Yeah.
Still looks pretty good.
Oh, it's
I
yeah,
drive by
beautiful.
it,
Well,
Oh, it's still
it,
there?
it was
it was the prettiest house.
immaculate then. We weren't allowed to go upstairs, and it had these really steep, winding stairs. And so we always had, we have to go to the bathroom. Then we could get upstairs to look around, and, as you're going.
It was a beautiful home.
It was
really.
just
It still is.
immaculate.
Is it occupied?
Yes, she
But it
sold
doesn't
it.
look the same, really.
No, but-
Some of it does.
No,
It's got
it's been.
an arched door.
She sold it to a family that had 3 or 4 boys, teenagers, and she was afraid, they were going to scuff up the place, which they probably did. But
Yeah,
it
they
was
probably aren't the
a
owners anymore.
nice home. But that's where they built it, and the whole family came over, and that's where the marriage was, in the front room. I remember that.
Where is that located?
It's on
Almond
Almond Road, Almond
Avenue.
Avenue, yeah. 2000 Almond Avenue.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, where's Armand Avenue?
Almond? It's
It's over by that Catholic school. What's that one called?
Yeah, there was a
It's
Catholic.
kind of by the Mount Diablo High School.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
There's Pacheco
Well,
and Bonifacio,
Yes.
You
all
could
those
walk
streets.
to the high school from her porch.
Yeah.
You could just walk down the block, and there was the high school. But that's where, and I mean,
Come on in.
This is a museum or not?
Well, sort of, yeah. It's the history room.
History room.
So come on in.
You come.
I can't.
Do you recognize this one? Is that anybody you know? Here, we'll get these out of the way.
Just put them away. We don't want to confuse. We just always hopeful somebody might
Yeah.
recognize these people.
Yeah, we have a couple of sets that we.
Do you recognize that one?
You know that guy, huh?
Yeah.
It's a great picture.
It sure is.
So are you still piping?
No, I can't do it. No,
That's good for
I
you.
don't have. It's not. It's my lungs, my diaphragm. You never do it.
The last time he did it, his lips kind of turned blue.
Oh,
And so that was probably, was it probably about 10 years ago, or maybe 8?
No,
The time goes by so fast.
5
but-
or 6 years ago, a friend of mine talked me into going over to what's the
The Scottish Games?
no
Oh.
in
Where you got the small pipes?
no what's the name of this place where you where there's the golf course and the,
Country club? Or,
well, the country, no,
oh,
it's where people buy houses there. It's just
Black Hawk?
Black Hawk.
Ah.
All right. He heard that I played the pipes, and so he contacted the a group, all Scots, that meet over there on the various occasions. The Caledonian Club.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
And I said, well, I don't know about that. And he said, well, if you would, we'd certainly appreciate that. And I talked to a couple of people, and they said, well, you could do it. So I said, all right, I'll do it. And I had just bought a different set of pipes, my regular ones, and then I had Scottish small pipes. And he said, you told me that you had that new set. And I said, well, I'll bring them both over. Well, I assumed that there would be maybe half a dozen people. And when I went into this room, there must have been 60. It was
It's a lot of pipes.
Did you know Bill Wakeman?
yes.
Yeah, because he was very much involved. Do you have a Scott background?
McNeil?
McNeil?
Well, the McNeils.
Well,
that's
the
really
names
Irish.
don't mean much. Because,
Yeah.
you know, mine, I go way back. Duncan.
Yes, Duncan, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, Bill Wakeman was very much involved in the pipes and everything. He didn't have it, but he went to all of those.
I know he did. He was in the dancing group.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt, but
Well, anyway,
Know this picture?
Is that you?
again, I couldn't guarantee, but that's either a barn
Nice.
behind me, or this is the ladder that went up to the
The hayloft?
water.
Oh, the water.
No, the water tank.
Oh.
But
And,
that doesn't look like him.
No.
No.
So,
Okay.
and my grandfather had his torn down because we, the kids now, see, in the McNeil family, there were 5 children in that family, and they all had children, and we had a lot of cousins. And when they gathered out there, we did all kind of things, and climbing up to the top of that tank was one of them.
wow.
So he had it just demolished. And another one was at Lizzie's.
Oh, Aunt Lizzie?
There was
Lizzie
a
Nita?
tank there on that property.
Oh, was there?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, everybody had one
Yeah, well, sure.
because there was no public water.
Right.
Everybody had,
So did you climb that one too?
no, we didn't go over there. No.
Bill, where was the home where you grew up here in Lafayette? Where was it located?
Well, it was
Right
right
here.
there.
Oh, was he in the? Because I know that was his
The barber
grandfather.
sh- the barber
grandfather's
shop.
house was.
The barber shop was the living room.
Okay.
oh, the barber shop right here
So
Yeah.
did
at
his
the plaza.
grandparents
Yeah.
lived right there as well.
Yeah.
Robert, right?
And if you remember when we were in, I can't remember if it was in the barber shop or the apartment, but you had to fix something and you looked up in that hole and you could see the wallpaper still from the original
Yeah.
days.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think about the plaza and how they're
Have you
bringing
seen the
some
store
of those
that they
buildings back?
opened as a
Well, I
restaurant in
think
the
it's
West?
great. You know,
I haven't
there.
actually. He has seen it. I saw it the day before it opened, but I haven't seen it since it
It's better
has
looking
been
than
open.
it was
But
for
we're
all
parked
those.
down now, so
Yeah.
we're gonna check it out when we go
Gotta
there.
go in and get a free meal.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think they'll give him free,
The
but
bet
food
they
is
would.
good. I had some this week.
If you told them who you were, I'll go down with you and say who you are. It's,
Well, I think we've talked about this once before, but when your mother had the dress shop in there, as a little kid, I remember going downstairs, 2 or 3 stairs to get in the store. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
And yet now that level, have they raised the floor or?
Yes, they've smoothed it out so it's. See, there's 2 apartments in the rear, and then there's two businesses.
Where the restaurant was
Right.
where Grandma Doll had her shop.
Right,
Right.
right. Oh,
And I remember that there used to be stairs too, because we'd go to the handlebar and there was 2 step-ups.
yes.
And now there's not.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah, how funny. I never thought of that, but
No,
I do remember.
but the things you remember from a childhood are strange. I mean, I don't remember much about the shop. I just remember going in and going down 2 or 3 steps to get to where
Yes,
things were on
right,
display.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that you have this little bottle here from Ray's Inn.
Mm-hmm.
That is so funny. He was the greatest guy, Ray Shanahan. And I used to work there. When I was pregnant with Ryan, I worked there.
Really?
Yep. So that was 40 years ago.
Wow.
Just amazing how all of the contacts. I mean,
Yes.
You
We have
knew
this
all the
bottle
meat owls
collection
and
over
everything.
Yeah, I
Yes.
saw it.
And a guy,
Yeah, because I knew them.
comes in
Shirley.
showing salad.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
goes
And
out where he
Alvin.
finds old
Yeah,
houses
yeah,
and
I-
people through the bottles
He was
and
in the
down
Boy
the
Scouts
office and
in my
washes
troop
them
and
up.
everything.
They're
I went
gorgeous.
Yeah, I
backpacking.
have
He
a
went
whole
backpacking
collection
with
of
Did he?
us.
bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The
Yeah.
Whitakers
Yeah,
were
I
into.
love
Shirley.
Remember the Whitakers?
and
They-
Yeah,
I have
Shirley.
a nice collection
Yeah,
of
they
refrigerators
had,
too.
yeah.
I even have
they
one
were in
that's on the
scouting.
Yeah, Troop
telegraph
204,
wood,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it has the hole through where it was the wire went
Were
through.
you in the Scouts here?
No, I wasn't. No.
The same guy who saved the barrel. When they took the barrel out, he said he found a bunch of bottles back there too. So he gave them to his mom. who
Looking
loved
at
them. They were
this, I
different
think
colored
we've
bottles,
been-
and she
oh,
put
there's a
flowers
cute
in
dog.
them.
Yeah, I love old
I do
bottles.
too. They're really special.
Well, one of my favorite stories about that building was that was one Christmas, and we were there. I think it was before Alvin and Shirley were married, but and Alvin had the first slinky that I've ever seen. Now it was his, and his 2 nieces were there, and I was there. And the first slinky I ever saw came down those very steep
Oh,
stairs
yes.
in the back of that building, and he started them at the top. And as I recall, it came all the way down. It was a big, exciting thing. But Alvin used to do the most wonderful Christmas trees that I remember too. They would be all flocked is not the word. He made ivory snow,
Oh, yeah.
and then they would be like he would cluster 3 balls here, and
Yeah.
what I remember is blue and red from childhood. So, but
He was a good carpenter.
oh, absolutely.
Oh, he was, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he and my father Earl worked together quite often, and Daddy always said, if there was a finished job to be done, he wanted Alvin to do that.
Now, which of the boys are you?
My father was Earl,
Earl.
and he was a
Because I
carpenter
remember
also.
the whole. Well, there were 4 boys, weren't
Yes.
they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually 5 to begin with, but the first one died.
And
yeah.
Walter would be the youngest.
Walter was the youngest,
Right.
and
Good memories.
he's closer to your age.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they're all gone. Actually, I am the oldest flood around.
You're the matriarch.
I am the matriarch, which is kind of scary, but anyway.
Oh, don't let it bother you.
No. But yeah, so we go back a ways. But when something was said when we were outdoors about a name, that you mentioned a name, and I immediately responded to the name, but that's about all I know. I mean, I'm no help around here in many ways, because I just remember hearing names when I was a kid and not always getting the whole story.
Yeah.
But when you're a kid, you don't pay attention
No.
to things. I know I grew up here too, and I wished I was in high school when Jenny Bickerstaff died. I could have I could have met her. I could have talked to her.
Well,
but
I-
did it ever occur? I mean, I didn't even know who she was.
No, well, I
Till
did.
later.
I did know her.
You know, all these things in
So-
town. I just remember certain things.
I used
Isn't
to-
she the one that was on the horse? The picture
Yep.
of the
Yes.
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 Okay, I've got
She's the
something
teacher.
going.
Yeah.
I remember.
She's got a great big redwood tree there.
Yeah.
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 Lovely lady.
I remember going to Lawrence's meat market in Walnut Creek with my parents because they'd buy a half a beef and a lamb, and they'd bring it home and they'd wrap it all in paper and we'd put it in the freezer. I remember going into that meat market, and I can remember the Walnut Festival parades on Main Street there, and I can still remember watching those.
Yeah.
But things like that I remember, but not other things. Wished I'd known more. Wished
No.
I'd paid attention.
Well, I've always wished I'd asked more questions, but that I didn't do.
We should pay more attention now, too.
I know.
Well,
It's true.
That's why I'm so interested. I've heard so much about this man
I know.
and the family.
Where's Ryan now?
Did
Let's
you
see- let's see.
did you ever meet
Ryan
Bill
lives in
Morse?
Benicia.
He's working-
no, Belle,
Sheriff.
Aunt Belle
Yeah,
passed away before I was
Sheriff's Department,
born.
now he
But
is
Flood,
recruiting
yeah, we saw Flood
Which is
fairly
the,
regularly,
Yeah.
college in Pittsburgh.
and
And so
There never will be
he's-
another Flood
Nice
Morse.
safe job.
well,
It's
I tell
a
you.
great job because
he was a
you
character
know,
of
with the
sorts.
sheriff's department, you're here for 6 months, and then when
I
he
was
in
somebody-
Lafayette, that was like a
We
2
we
or
were going through
3 year
pictures
gig.
the other day, and
Yeah,
somebody,
he was
I said, "Well, that's
moving,
Flood Morse," and they
and
said,
when we
"Huh?"
get to this
So I had to
place,
go
they
through the whole
usually go
explanation
out
about
at the
why he
next
was
level.
called
So
Flood,
he would
but
go out as
and he, I don't know if
What
you.
was his name? Was it?
Well, he
He's a
took
sergeant.
that name. You know, his father was
And it's Monday
John,
through
Right.
Fridays,
and
so
apparently
which is good
they
'cause
had
his
a baby
kids are,
boy
you know,
for their first child,
He's
and they
got a,
named John Jr.
8-year-old.
And then they had a daughter, and then Flood was born, and they wanted the name of John to go on, and so they named him
I'm expecting
John.
to see him
And
tomorrow.
when he was
In
old
fact,
enough and found out that he
for Father's
had
Day,
been
I
named
got
the
a
same as this
sweatshirt that says
deceased
Lafayette,
brother,
and it
he
says
did
the
not
year.
want it.
Oh, I
So
didn't know that.
no, so that's why he
1857
took
or whatever
his
year.
mother's maiden name
Anyway,
as
I
his
got the
first.
colors.
Yes, his first name.
Really?
But no,
And,
Belle passed
yeah,
away
it's
before
really
I was
cute.
born. But
They have T-shirts
I knew all of the
and
rest of
sweatshirts,
Grandpa's
and they're on
sisters
sale.
very well.
Oh, I've never seen
They
one.
they were all they stayed
I
pretty
just
close
got
together.
It a couple of
so.
days ago there. Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh.
because
Figured
I've
he-
told
Why not?
he'll like Lafayette.
this story.
Oh yeah,
When,
do tell
uh,
it again.
Before the Caldecott was finished, when the first bore, I may have told you this before, I don't know.
Yes, but do tell it.
But before that, there was one bore started, and it was finally up to the point where they had brought in thousands of yards of gravel and put on the floor. No lights, and that was it. And they had it barricaded in the front. And Flood was quite a horseman, and he stopped by one day and said, "I'm going to Walnut Creek or to Oakland to the Star Company, which made saddles
Oh,
down at the foot of Broadway in Oakland." And he was riding in these 36 pickup. It was a GMC pickup. And I liked to ride in that with him because he had an air horn on it that would just blast you off the road. And I don't know why he even stopped, but I got in with him and on we went. And nothing was said about the tunnel. But when we came up out of Orinda, and now we can see the bore, and it was all barricaded with big wooden things. And he's going along about 50 miles an hour. And he said, how would you like to go through the tunnel? I said, you can't do it, it's barricaded. He said, well, if we could do it, I said, not what I asked. I said, do you want to go through there? And I said, yeah, I do want to go through there. And so he could see that the barricades were not just this way. You know, they're assuming nobody's going to go.
right.
and we all of a sudden we're in gravel this deep, and there's I don't know how many men were in there working, and we could see them all down the line and the hole coming out, and they all started waving, and he reached up and pulled that thing, and then they just scattered on both sides, and then he poured it on, and we went out of there about 60 miles an hour, and when I looked back, there was this big cloud of dust just coming out, and we went on down to Oakland, and I said, "You're not going back through the tunnel."
Now somebody would have called you in on their cell phone.
He got the biggest kick out of that. No one else would have done that.
Probably not.
Never.
Now, which flood was this?
He was my grandfather. It was my father's cousin, first cousin. So my grandfather, Alexander Flood's.
What was his first name?
Flood?
No, the guy that drove the truck.
That was
Oh,
Flood.
Alexander.
See, that was
Oh,
no,
his
no,
first
no.
name is Flood.
Yeah,
Okay, got
this
it.
is he took his
That name.
mother's maiden name
Right.
as his first name. So
Oh, my God.
yeah, so he would be my father's first cousin. His mother was Belle Flood Morse,
Yeah.
and so
Oh,
that
wow.
was her maiden name.
What a
Well,
good
he
story.
was-
He always he was the character. In the stories that I've heard for
Oh,
years,
yes,
he's always
well,
the character.
He was. Actually, he drove a truck for a living later on. He probably had more than one ear. Had his own truck.
During the Second World War, he was in the Seabees.
Yes.
And he was driving bulldozers on where these islands were, where they would take the island and then they would have to make the airstrip.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he did. He was an excellent person.
Yeah.
The bigger the tractor, the better.
Better, I'm sure. I'm sure he did a good job. And my Uncle Ray was also in the Seabees, and I don't know whether they ever served together, but so they had that that relationship too. But cousins.
Yeah, the CBs were quite an organization.
Were you a CB?
Pardon?
Were you a CB?
No, but the CBs landed right after I landed on Guadalcanal, and they built the one of the airstrips that was named after our captain who was killed there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was on Guadalcanal in the early days. No, the CBs did a tremendous job.
I guess they got them in as soon as possible after and started moving dirt around so
Oh,
they
yes.
could
Oh,
have
yeah.
Yeah, they
airfields.
came in, well, shortly after we landed, right after
Wow.
the Marines, yeah.
What about these pictures of those?
Well, I think you and I have been through these, but you know what? Maybe you'll recognize something that we didn't notice before. We have little marks on some of these things, so
I
He doesn't
should
have his
brought
glasses.
mine. No.
Don't worry about it, Bill. If you can't,
No.
if you don't even worry.
no, because we've looked at them before, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
the thing we've kind of discovered is
Put
that
these on and see if they just might. The bottom part.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
It's not as good, but it's better. Well,
Can't leave till you identify 3 people.
I'm pretty sure this was all Alice's
Yeah,
album.
because a lot of those pictures all the way through are labeled. So
Yeah.
see, this is the front yard
Yep.
Right.
of the property.
That one's in my handwriting, and there's other notes in Mary's handwriting. And
Because I remember my grandfather's death was the first thing that I had ever remembered. And in those days, they put the casket right in the dining room.
oh yes,
Or in the parlor.
right.
And that's where he was, I
They put
remember.
who in there?
Is the casket?
Oh, right.
So and I remember that one thing. He died, and 1 month later to the day, my grandmother's father died.
My goodness.
Robert Thompson died a month later.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So your grandfather must have died young.
Well, no, he was about 60
Okay,
to
but
65.
But if he predeceased his father-in-law, that's younger than what he didn't live to be in his 80s then.
No. He,
Wow.
my Robert was in his 80s.
Right.
Yeah, that's well. Yeah.
That from the photos I've seen, that looked like it was a lovely garden.
Yeah, it was. There was a fish pond over here,
Oh,
and nice grass, and yeah.
So the barrel will go in this corner?
That's where I'm hoping to put it, yeah. I think it would be really neat because people could then see it from, the window if we're not open. So we have these two beautiful anvils from Peter Thompson's blacksmith shop.
Yep.
So I think
I
it
know where that was.
It'd be really neat to have
let's
the
see if we
barrel
can
here.
tuck this back in. So I don't know that the order means anything,
Yes,
but
yes.
because it's falling apart. But
Yeah, this is my father.
do we need to get another sticky?
Right here,
Did we
Oh, that one. That
Yeah.
one right there.
because they named
William
him
McKinley.
Yep.
Yeah.
they
It's
named-
already posted.
Yep.
Okay.
named him McKinley because McKinley was assassinated during, or just before he, I think.
Before he was born?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. That's interesting.
Yes. And he worked for Standard Oil Company, driving a truck, and that's you could see the trucks were something else. I think that's my father there. Yeah, everybody was in the Army or Navy or something. So
Well, these pictures
lot of
from
these
World War One.
yeah,
Yeah, not two. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, well, I think, yeah, you're probably,
Oh.
thank you.
Is that Mary in her nurse's uniform? I mean, that's what we wrote on the back.
Yes,
We just took it out and folded it without painting and put it in.
Who's Mary?
that would be Stuart's wife.
Stuart's
Oh.
wife, yeah.
Yeah. She was in the First World War.
Yes.
That's Aunt May, you mean?
Yes.
Oh
that's-
my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she was called May.
Yeah, we
'Cause
called
she
her
was-
May.
And when I
She was.
watched her doctoring my cousin, I was glad I wasn't in the
Bill right here.
First World War.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of us were.
Yeah, she
Oh.
ended up going to the.
She was rough, I'll tell
I
you.
think that's Bill in that picture.
That's you, right?
Yep,
Confessa.
Yeah, she.
I'm in the picture too.
All right, let's see.
We better get everybody identified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my grandfather. That's my grandmother. That's me. That's my sister. That's my brother.
If I
That's
give
my
you, if I give you
cousin
a sticky
Kathleen,
note and a
my
pen, would you
cousin
write?
Bridget. There's Aunt Alice, Aunt May, my
Well,
mom, Kevin.
Okay, you got to identify all these people then. If you need two stickies, just go ahead and do back row and front row or whatever.
Yeah,
This
Sorry.
is, you know,
good. Well, that's we need.
I think
also,
this is when. Oh, it must have been your mom's anniversary or something. At first, I thought it was your
So-
retirement, but I don't
no,
think so.
this,
We need to
What's
make
that?
this is
interesting
my
picture.
father's,
Well, here's a letter from. Look at the beautiful handwriting they
a.
have.
Wasn't that beautiful?
This is a cute baby that I to my grandma from somebody.
Oh, cute. That's adorable.
Where are you?
I wonder who the heck this is.
I'm right there.
Nice.
That's my sister and brother, my mom.
Anybody recognize this guy? Nope.
Yes, yes.
Oh, you do? Who is
Yeah.
that? Who is that? Do you know?
Yeah, this is,
Do you want me to? I'll make a copy of this, and then we can put numbers on it.
James Bohannon.
Whatever you want to do.
That's what we did on this one.
This was
Brian
Bertha's,
came in a while ago. We did this
Oh,
Bertha's son.
yes, I remember that.
Oh,
easy.
okay.
Better write that down.
See, Bertha was married, and James, he was my age within a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't get along, and they split. Then she came back and lived in the house in Lafayette,
Oh, okay.
and he grew up there. And when the war started, he got into the Navy flight school.
Okay.
So but I shouldn't say I wouldn't put down Bohannon yet, because when she remarried, her next husband adopted him.
Okay. And
So, and she married a, oh God, come to me,
I think I've heard the name before.
yeah. Borgeson.
Oh,
Her
Frank.
name,
Or Jack.
Jack Borgeson.
Okay.
And so, the last time I saw him, he was going by the name Jim Borgeson.
Okay.
So that's who that is.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. There you go.
Nice.
Who's this cutie pie?
Baby pictures are really hard.
Well,
Only if you, yeah.
Only if they're
nope, I wouldn't know.
Cute kid, though.
oh wow.
Marshall.
I'll be done.
Oh, who's
I
that?
don't know. It's Grandpa Malone. Oh, you wrote that,
Maloney.
Nancy.
Maloney.
With a Y on the end.
I don't know how you spell it, but anyway, I
Well,
wrote
there's Charlotte Maloney, and she had a Y on the end of her name. I
Okay,
think.
well, maybe I didn't
But I don't
spell
know.
it correct.
Well, but yes, it was Maloney.
With a Y?
Well, I don't think it had a Y, but
Maybe they just pronounced it with a Y.
it was definitely an Irish name.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And Aaron Maloney was the father.
Okay. I've seen that name before.
Right. You know, he's buried up in the cemetery.
Right.
Oh, right. Okay, this I don't think it.
So how is Stuart related to you,
That's his uncle.
your uncle? So
My
His
father's brother.
Right.
okay, so
See-
Robert's son.
Well, in that family, there were 5 children, 2 boys and 3 girls.
Okay, so hold on, I gotta write this down.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I'm gonna do a work on the little family tree here.
Yeah, and you know, since I knew this lady as Mary and you're calling her May, we need to make that clear that
We
that's...
called her Aunt
Aunt
May.
May.
Yeah.
So the original ones were William McNeil and Jane Allen. Those were the original. He was the original McNeil, William, the first William.
Yes, he was.
Okay, and then their son was Robert.
The only son that survived was Robert.
Okay.
But John, there was a John. When they married, they had first child was John McNeil, and he died about when he was 14.
Oh.
Now, don't quote me on that.
No, that's fine.
date, But
He died
about
young.
that.
Uh-huh.
And then they had Margaret McNeil.
Wonder where that
She
name came
served,
from.
and she survived and married into the what was Addie Allen? She was a Giroux.
She was a Giroux.
She
Yeah.
married John Giroux. Margaret McNeil married a John, and they
Now, am I
had
supposed to
5
put a
children.
number?
Oh.
My numbering?
If you want to.
Okay, then
Yeah.
now who are we here?
We have
John.
John, who died. Then we have Margaret, was the second child of William and Jane.
And she married a Giroux.
She
She
married
might
John
have
Giroux.
been the oldest. I'm not sure.
Okay. And then
But-
where does Robert figure into it? Your grandfather, was he third?
He was the only boy that survived. So there were 2 boys. One died, and a girl.
3 kids.
Yes.
What if, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so then Robert married Gertrude Thompson.
That's
Okay, and their children were,
okay. The oldest was Ruth McNeil. Next would have been Alice McNeil.
who became Alice McNeil Russey.
Right. Then, well, now wait a minute. We have to get the first boy
Okay.
was
John?
what?
John?
No, we're talking about
Oh.
in the
Robert and Gertrude's
Robert.
kids. Is there a Stewart in there somewhere?
Stewart was the oldest boy, and I'm sure whether he was older or just younger than
That's
Ruth.
that doesn't
But
matter.
anyway, he was the oldest boy.
Mhm.
There was only 2. Then my father was born, and then Bertha was born.
And your father's name was?
William McKinley.
Oh, William McKinley was your father. Okay, gotcha.
And is Bertha quite a bit younger than?
Bertha was the youngest
Yeah.
of all the children.
Because I noticed that she isn't always identified in things. Is this?
No.
She was younger.
Yes, she was the youngest,
seen that picture before?
and
Or
she used to laugh. She would tell me, especially if Alice, her sister, was listening, she'd say, you know, I was the last born about the time the tunnel was made. You know, and she had Alice in a fit.
So who did Ruth marry?
Oh, Ruth married
there's a profile of this. I'm like, oh my
a
god.
man named Pearl Draper.
That's an interesting name.
Yes, Pearl Draper.
Mhm.
And they had 2 children, Jack and God, what was his sister's name? It'll come to me. I'll
Okay.
to get in touch with that.
And then Alice had no children, did she?
Right.
No. Alice married Theodore Russey,
That's right.
and they had no children.
Brian,
And then
Liam looks
William McKinley, your father,
looks just like Sarah.
married.
And
Who was your
He
mother?
married Dolly
yeah, he just turned 40.
Neff, Neff,
Okay.
and they finally divorced,
Liam said.
and he remarried.
Okay.
But the pictures of him,
See.
when you see it, it's like, oh my god, it looks exactly like Ryan looked.
My mother remarried, what was his name? Coleman. And she remained with him until he died first. His name was Olin. Olin Coleman.
I'm going to put that out.
And what siblings did you have? Your brothers and sisters? Who were they?
Richard is your brother.
Yes.
He died in 1964, so.
Wow, long time
Yeah,
ago.
but this is his wife, Beverly McNeil.
Oh, nice. Thank you for doing that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, well, I'm getting a copy of it, so I'm pretty happy.
Good.
On nice paper.
So
Oh,
there's two, you and your brother?
Yes,
We're the only
right,
two?
just the two of us.
Yeah, Richard was his
He was in the
And he
Navy
was in the
and I was
Navy,
in
yeah.
the Army.
big guy, too. And fun and funny. He wasn't quiet.
Who?
Uncle Richard, he wasn't
No.
quiet. He was a
No.
fun guy, laughing, and
Yeah,
he wasn't. Dad was always more of the serious one.
yeah.
Were you older?
Yes.
That's why you were
I
more
was
serious.
about 3 years older. And, well, no, I was more like my mother in a way than he was more like his father. He looked more like his father.
Yeah, he was big.
Yeah.
So who did Bertha marry?
She married
Jack Borgensen.
Jack
Oh.
Borgeson.
Oh, right.
Well, she married first.
The guy here whose
and
name
had-
was
No, but this was his. This
Bohannon.
yes, James Bohannon. They lived down in Los Angeles.
Dad still lives in this house. That's the dining room.
Wow.
Doesn't look like that anymore, but
So this was James.
That's James Bohannon.
Yeah.
Where does Stuart fit into this now?
Well, Stuart was the oldest
Oh, here he is.
boy,
Here, I'm sorry. Okay, so who did he
and,
marry?
Yeah, he married
May, right here.
May.
May or Mary. Mary.
May.
Who was her name?
Oh God.
I don't know that.
Yeah,
That's okay. May's good.
Yeah,
Well,
but she's also Mary.
Okay.
It's the same
Yes.
person. So if we see her as identifies as Mary someplace, then May in
Is this
other
a
places.
costume of some
Perfect.
sort? Oh, World War II. She
Oh
was
my
a
goodness,
nurse.
yeah,
perfect.
she
World
was
War
a
One.
nurse
Not this one
during
too?
the First World War.
Did they have children?
Yes, one.
It is a cute
Robert
picture, though.
Thomas.
Oh,
Robert Thomas
So-
McNeil.
I was going to straighten this one out.
Less
and
like
it's not-
reusing the
that's
good
what's
names
cropped
again,
up.
huh?
That's fine. This is perfect.
Nice.
So I wrote all these, and
Oh,
then I
cool.
put the kids, who they're connected to, these kids.
Wow. Thank
Well,
you.
you sure have a good memory.
You sure
I
do.
don't remember any of this.
And getting back to Ruth's boy,
Jack?
Jack, yes. Jack,
Oh, this is on the same day.
Same clothes?
Yeah, my mother's wearing the same dress, so it must have been some big celebration of something.
anyway, Jack was older than I because Ruth married, before my father did. And I remember Jack, what did I tell you there?
Draper?
Draper.
Jack Draper.
Jack Draper. All right. We got along good. He was older than I, but he liked guns. We were always shooting targets off with 22s and so forth. As soon as he got out of high school, he joined the Oakland Police Department, and we thought that was really fun. And I had a Model A Ford at the time, and I loved to drive it down Walnut in Oakland to a boot shop that I went to, kind of like Flood. And one day I was driving along, and all of a sudden I heard a siren and a light came on, and I was being pulled over. I could see by a cop.
Uh-oh.
And it was Jack. Of course, I thought it was the funniest thing. I thought, oh, God, there goes my license and everything else. And then, about a year or two later, he got into a real deal, or a mess, because he was going down the road and some guy did something, and he tried to pull him over, and he put the siren on, and the guy wouldn't move. I mean, he followed him. So Jack pulled up alongside of him, and he was on a motorcycle. And he learned one thing: you don't pull up beside, because then the guy just pulled over and ran him off the road, and Jack hit the ground and skidded. He landed on his butt where his gun was, and skidded right along. As he said, it ruined the gun. Just,
At least he didn't get killed.
I know it.
Oh my.
But then he had a son. Jack had a son, and he then became police locally. His name was Bruce Draper.
So the
Now I
police
don't know where
officer
he
runs
is
in the
now,
family.
but yeah, there was. And then there's another policeman. My grandmother's sister was Agnes Thompson. Agnes married a man who came up from Australia. And apparently he was an orphan in Australia. And his name was Edmund Keefe. Keefe.
Yeah.
So somebody felt sorry for him down there and told him, he said, look, you need to go to the United States, get out of here. And he paid the whole fare.
Really?
And he landed in San Francisco, and he met, I don't know how he met Agnes, but they got married, and he joined the
Police department too.
yes, he went over to Martinez, and he became a traffic guy. Not traffic. What do you call him?
Like a highway patrolman?
With the Contra Costa County.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what he was. And I remember seeing him going through Lafayette on this motorcycle. And he loved horses. And when I was about 16, he always had several great-looking horses. He never rode them, but he always bought them. And my father told me, he said the one thing about him, he knows horses. And so he had 3 at one time, and he gave me permission to keep them exercised. And they lived on Thompson Road.
Ah, yeah.
But that Thompson Road isn't spelled the same as the Thompson family.
Well,
probably
it's not.
spelled
It's spelled
Incorrectly?
incorrectly.
Oh, got it. Okay, I wondered.
See, the Scots do not put a P in their Thompson. Anyway, that's where they lived. And I used to go up there and ride these 3 horses. And when I went into the Army, my father felt duty bound to do something. He bought me a wristwatch, and he also bought the horse. This one horse I like to ride.
Oh.
So I knew that, and I showed it to everybody that I was, all my buddies in the Army. They had pictures of their girlfriend. And I had my horse picture. And that wasn't so bad when we were in Belgium, and I'd meet these Belgian people. They immediately wondered if I had a girlfriend, if I was married, and I said, no. You don't have? Oh, I said, I do have a picture. And I showed them the photo. They thought that was the funniest thing they ever saw.
Fox.
Yeah, Fox.
Fox was the horse's name?
Mhm.
Oh.
That's a good story.
I have pictures of that, of Fox, because when I got back, I got busy and I just didn't have time to take care of him and ride him, and so, but So it went back to my father. But Ed Keefe, I really, he was a marvel. At one time, every year we had a horse show. It only lasted 3 or 4 years, but we had a horse show, and he showed up with not a thoroughbred. It was a real fancy horse. Can't think of the name of it, but it was so well trained. He hired somebody to go out and display it at one of these horse shows, and he was dressed like an Arab, and he had a horse, a very beautiful headstall and the whole thing.
So it was an Arabian horse.
An Arabian, that's right.
Oh.
Yes, and he had that when one time Alice and Alice and I can't think of her name. Agnes.
Did they have anything to do with that horse show here?
The old horse shows in Lafayette.
Yes,
Were they
yes,
in the
that's-
horse shows?
Yes, that's the
Yeah,
one.
on the Hamlin property.
Yes, right. Well, anyway, Agnes and Aunt Alice used to ride up Happy Valley clear over to Briones. But they rode on the road, going. And on one of those trips, one of the horses slipped and fell, and luckily they weren't injured, but they used to ride that darned Arabian horse. So both of them.
Well, I remember hearing Ed Keefe's name. Again, that's all I know.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
now
I
you know
that
where
name.
he came from.
Good.
Yes.
Put all these little things together.
Because I see her bridge still.
Well,
Waiting for him.
Flood Morse also showed Freckles. I remember Freckles.
I know exactly, and that it was a
Yeah.
speckled horse.
Amazing.
Pretty good.
That's what the
Yeah,
the name. He was reddish brown, but with a lot of speckles. And that horse
I go over on
won
my way to
every
work, and then I go over on my way.
cow horse.
A Pinto? Pinto?
Otherwise-
It was
not a Pinto.
like an Appaloosa.
Oh, Appaloosa,
No,
yeah.
this horse was just little,
That way.
Little spots.
'cause he
little
fell in
spots.
October.
Oh, yeah.
just
yeah.
little
Yeah.
tiny.
Yeah,
So-
Appaloosa, yeah.
But
Now
that
we just-
Freckles won
Just stay in the
every
house, so, but
one
it's
that
nice to still live in the
Flood
house.
would take him to
Yeah, well, that's
in the
it.
cow
Because once
horse
they
Yeah.
class.
My
Yeah.
mom had
Yeah.
Alzheimer's, and so we had to make
He was a
very
big
sure Roswell
horse,
over to a place in
uh,
Pleasant Hill.
and
My mom just continued
and
to
he
go down
died
there,
over
so
on
he
the.
did it.
In Alamo.
I just
Yes.
was always sort of sad because they
Yeah.
loved where they were,
Yeah.
but he couldn't take care of
That's
it.
when he
There
died.
wasn't room to
Yeah,
put
I
someone
have,
in
it's
to
a
live
very
there.
fuzzy, I was pretty
So,
small,
sort of
so it was a
the
very
beginning.
fuzzy memory, but heck, with remembering people, you remember the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember the horse.
Yeah, the important parts.
Well, unnerving.
You know,
And the freeways are scary. That's what it is. Surface roads around home, maybe.
I had no
He
idea
doesn't drive much.
that when I
Just
got
having it.
into Germany
You know, there's nothing wrong. So my husband.
and we were
over here,
That's nice.
and
Check
going
on
to
things.
He's
town,
retired,
trying to make
he's around for the daytime
tracks and
if he needs anything,
trying to get
so.
as far as we could.
Isn't it such a
And one day,
It really is.
one of my sergeants came to me,
Stories.
and I had met him before we went overseas, and he was another horse lover.
He's gone there, huh?
Well, the
And we got along
Great
great.
stories.
And he said, Bill, he said,
Yeah,
could you
he's got a lot of pictures though.
spare a little time?
Thanks for doing
And I
this.
said,
This is
yeah,
neat.
what do you want? And he said,
I did
well,
some genealogy
said,
on some
uh,
families there.
we hit
I'm going to stick some genealogy in here, just
about
basic
3 horses
genealogy.
with our artillery,
Beginning.
and they're down. And he said, I think you're probably dead.
Do you have a copy of that
So
Allen
we
book?
got in a Jeep and we went up.
The Allen book.
The
and
Allen
here
history,
were-
the history of all the Allens.
3 horses.
Do you know Donna Gillespie?
I think there were 3.
She was
big horses, dead, down, and they were still hooked to a cannon,
Oh
a field
Every family,
piece.
historical family should have to do
And
that.
that's what they were using them for.
Yeah.
We have
My
the
goodness.
And there was one had a beautiful saddle on it. He said, would you help me? I can't turn the horse over without. So the two of us pulled this horse up over and took the saddle off. And it was bloody and a mess, but it was a beautiful saddle. It wasn't a fancy saddle, but it sure wasn't like our cavalry saddle.
All right,
No.
probably a little bit fancier than
Yes,
that.
but that's what they were using. That shows you, they were down
They were
in...
pretty desperate, weren't they?
Yep.
Yeah, interesting.
This only goes.
And what it amounted to, they would have at least two horses, and one had a rider. And then the two pulled the gun.
True, and that
But I remember that, and then I got to thinking,
And
I should have
they've got a
gotten
huge safe. I used to
another.
get in
I
the safe, and I'm like,
can't
oh my
remember
God, here's
now.
my great
I don't
grandmother's
think the other
signature
one
on
was
different
there, but
petitions and everything, and
crazy
I
thing.
take a copy.
And then when I got out of
just
the
couldn't
Army,
get
I went
over
to
it.
visit
Here on the
this
cemetery board.
man.
Oh,
So we have
And he was in
meetings
Chatsworth,
with
California.
of the cemetery for the
And
state
he had
records
it in
to
his
show them
tack
different
room.
people's graves.
so you
Oh.
carried it all the way home.
Oh, he sent it home.
Sent it home.
And he did it because the minute he looked at it, he could
Because when
see
she
it was
was
all
retiring, that's when I worked
screwed
there.
together.
And
It was
Howard
beautiful.
Patricia
It
Howard
wasn't in one piece. It was
and the person-
dismantleable.
Do you remember?
Oh.
That's what he
Barbara
did.
Cameron?
They just put it back
Well, see,
together.
it's an old
Wow.
legend.
She is.
Now he's
I
gone.
mean, when
In
I
fact,
was
all my buddies are
14,
gone.
I met that family. The
I'm the only
Camerons,
one left
And the
Are you?
in
Grandmas.
my.
In your-
Marvin was
yeah.
my boyfriend, and
How about
and
you,
I went to high
Marshall?
school with them all. So
Yeah.
I
You
go
have
up to see
buddies
Barb
that are
and her
still
daughter
around?
Kay,
Jeez.
has
Not
bought
many
big
of them left
logs from
Guadalcanal
Twin
in my
Heart and put on
group.
her
Right,
mountain.
yeah.
Her dad's there now too. But
That's,
You know,
I was
Ed-
really good friends with all them, and now,
Edward
of course, all
Allen.
the kids.
Mhm.
are still
Ed
there.
Allen. He's gone.
But
Yes.
yeah, I
And,
was going to ask.
We went to
I
his
keep
funeral.
thinking to
and
call Patty
went up
because
to
I
the
want to know
place.
if there's more.
I didn't.
plots
I
in the
missed
McNeil area
that one, and when I saw
cremation.
fire trucks and things, I
Probably.
should have known what was going on.
Yeah.
Because-
But I did with Betty's.
You've got
We
footstone here,
I-
footstone here.
I,
You have the gravestone
one of my
of
jobs
Robert
is to
McNeil.
host
I go
receptions
quite often.
for
There's-
memorials, and so
Your
I
dad's
was
over
there.
here.
Didn't he have two
And then
daughters?
Stuart's back here. Robert and Gertrude are here, but
Yes, I think
these
so.
bodies
I didn't know.
here.
I didn't know
So I don't know,
them
I bet you could tuck
very
some in.
well.
So
Well, I mean, I knew him
cremation, you only knew
because
those.
of the
Yeah, I mean,
volunteer
because
fire
that's where-
department and all that kind of stuff.
Because that's what I want.
But
Me too. I'm asking for my parents are
so Joyce is closer to my
across
age,
from the office.
and
Goes up past
we
Jenny
did a
Baker's.
lot together.
Go to around the
Because
corner
Bart Giroux was a
little
good
bit.
friend of
That's
my
where parents
father's, as
are.
well
With my
his
dad's two
his
sisters
employer
and
at
his
one
mother
time.
there. But there's
And,
no room for me. I wanna
so
be in
Bart
that old part, so
took
it's
Joyce
like
around,
that
and
is
you know we
I'm gonna get a place.
we
I
brought
remember
Yeah,
where
I
Bart
need to-
lived
I'm
up
glad
on the
that I
hill.
just
Yes,
mentioned that. I need
yeah,
to call
and that was another good horse
That's
there,
not
Flag.
Well,
Flag
never know,
was
do we?
Palomino
Exactly. I
and
mean,
kind of
Yeah.
mean,
Now,
but beautiful
commute
horse,
to Oakland
gorgeous
from Walnut
horse.
Creek.
Yeah.
It's not all that far,
Yeah.
but every day.
So
there's something.
And Bart's wife was
And, I
married.
don't know.
yes,
There's fatalities.
I went
at
up
least
there
once a
one
week
day for
in
some
the Bay
reason,
Area.
We can get nailed
and
coming out
she
of
knew I
Safeway.
was interested in birds and
But it's nice when your
various
kids and stuff
mammals
you've got
and
it all
things.
taken care of, 'cause
And
there's not
she
a big
gave
fight.
me
I want
a
Mom here.
copy
No, Mom's going to be here. No, it's
of
done.
birds. And
Yeah.
the other day I was looking through all my book, and there it was, and she signed it.
oh
Mary
really?
Giroux,
Oh,
and it's a
lots to
book
chat.
on
That's great.
But I do
American
have things
birds.
to do today.
Oh, for goodness
Well,
sake!
make the call.
You know.
When all I remember, she was so crippled with arthritis when I was a kid. I more remember her being
Somebody did
in
this.
bed rather than
This is all the family
being
too.
active. But Bart
So what
was,
year were you born?
I was around Bart a lot
So you're young.
when I was little, and then after she passed away,
I'll
he
be
and Daddy did a
62
lot
this
of things
birthday,
together.
But I don't
so
get to retire
there's-
quite yet.
But
Well, I'm hitting 70 this fall, so
Anyway, that.
I used to
really.
get a kick out
Sort
of
of
Bill
retired,
Giroux.
do a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
he was.
A lot of different
Oh
things
yes,
going on
I
here.
remember him
That's-
too.
But, you know, yeah, this is great.
And I heard stories about earlier when he was younger.
Yeah.
In fact, my grandmother told one. They-
Oh,
We better wrap it, Dad. We can come back.
Yeah, you're always welcome to come back.
I love the stories.
Just let us know when you're
Well,
coming. so
I'll
we can
tell
be
you.
here.
I'll tell you a Bill Giroux story.
okay.
Okay, when the first year that Grandpa Lamp's hotel was open, the family apparently lived in the hotel, and so I don't know if they had any rooms to rent or not, but they had, downstairs was food and booze and whatever.
I'm gonna leave. It's
Okay,
been a
well-
pleasure. I've heard so much about you.
Well, I'm glad we came over today.
You guys are a couple of living legends. That's what
Yes,
you are.
you guys can tell stories, World War
Okay.
II stories.
It was very nice meeting you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
You take care.
I will. Okay.
And
Same
you know
to
where you are, so come in. I'm always here on Saturday morning, so
How are you?
yeah.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll come back.
Yeah.
We'll come back next month or something.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be here.
Great to see you, Marshall.
Bye,
Yeah.
Marshall. Thanks for all your work.
Thank you.
Take
Great.
care.
Okay. Thanks for the use of your glasses.
You got them back, didn't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, Grandma told this story that there was this uproar downstairs, and I guess the kids were, she was a young teenager at the time, and they were supposed to stay upstairs at night, but there was an uproar downstairs, and she crept up to the foot of the stairs where she could see, I guess, where the bar was down below. I don't know exactly where it was, but anyway. And part of the uproar was Bill Giroux. He was causing the uproar. And, he was an elderly man when she was telling me this story, but I knew he'd had an interesting reputation, but... And he and Bart were so different in size and
I've got another one.
stature.
Yeah.
Teenage look.
Apparently-
She's sort of
And
away
she
from
just
everyone.
lives she lives on the property.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Her and her boyfriend live in
my
the
mother and
apartment.
father
Yeah, see, these two
sometimes went up
have
to bunkers.
Kathleen, but they also
You know
had two
where
other
the
kids. I don't
bunkers
Yes,
know why they
yeah.
went there.
and had
And
played
then
cards
Aunt Beverly had Kevin
and a
and
party like.
Bridget, and she had
And
another son, my cousin Dennis.
Bill
I don't know why
had,
he's not there.
had recently married,
And that's
and I
That's
I
Aunt
don't
May,
recall
or
that
Mary.
life at all.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Because
she
I
was in
came
World War
along
I, and then
after
she
that
ended up
was
going
over,
to
and
the
I don't know if she died or
Yountville.
what.
Oh,
To
yeah,
the
Anyway.
the veterans home.
She said she
She
was going to
and
go when she
Bill,
was 80,
the
but she
wife,
actually didn't go until she
came
was
to
about
the party.
3 or
And
or
then
more.
it
And she
started raining
she
and
lived
it was
at
a
least
mess,
5
and
years or more.
I said,
I think we
she lived
better
a long
get
time.
Wow.
Going and everything.
Well, you seem to have good genes
So they
in
went
this family.
outside,
Yeah, so that's her son,
and he got.
mom,
They
and
were on a
son.
horse, and he
Yeah.
put his wife on there.
That's neat. Thanks
And
for
then
identifying.
the horse
Your dad was-
shied or
My
something,
grandfather was a
it
good
dumped her off.
He really was.
and my
that is
dad says all he
William
could
Wayne
remember
McKinley.
was
yeah.
the horse was
got
tearing
it
out
all
of the
down here.
driveway,
This is cool to
and
know
Bill
that.
was after
I
the
love
horse.
genealogy.
Oh, dear.
And the poor
I'm the
woman was
family genealogist, and
trying
every
to.
Christmas Eve, my dad's family gets together and we
Oh,
there's no
that was-
babies.
there's
people
just-
who've died,
That was
and it's kinda
typical,
neat.
boy. He was tough.
So we're going to keep this. Thanks for this. This
there's
is
all
just
kinds of
nice.
wonderful stories to
Yeah.
tell.
Because Aunt Alice had it. And so then when she was gone, Dad's had it. He said she'd want it to be here
Well,
Right.
as
No,
much
that's
as
just so
he
great.
would.
We'll put it
So-
in a display case so it,
with
nothing
that
happens
picture
to
of
it.
him, he's
With
got
a white beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he's older. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
Okay, that's a nice picture.
That's a really nice
Yeah, I have a
picture.
copy of it right here.
Well, thank you so much,
Okay,
Bill, for coming.
well, I'm glad this is in a safe location
We'll take
now.
good care of it.
to worry
Yeah,
about
that's great. It will be.
Who in my family
send you an
ends
email in
up
about a
with
month.
it.
We'll
You
come
know,
back.
that's not, it should be.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming in. Thank you for
It was
visiting.
very fun.
You're welcome.
Very
Thank
fun,
you.
and I learned
Thank
a
you,
lot
Bill.
too.
Okay.
It was
Well,
very
that's
nice to meet
Take
you.
care of yourself now.
All right,
Okay?
I
You
will.
too. Yeah,
Thanks
when
for this, and
people
thanks for
start-
all your stories.
You know, the stories
And
come
thank your
out, and
hunky
sometimes
grandson for
things
passing
pop
on that
into your
email.
head. And I hate to talk code because when you know who
Oh,
we're
yeah,
talking
he's
about.
very nice.